MBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is MBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin' with you? It's your boy Sim, and this is the shoot around, ladies and gentlemen, only on Nothing But Knicks. And we have a great topic today: Zion Williamson versus Julius Randle. And why do we have this topic, ladies and gentlemen? Well, reports have come out that Zion Williamson's family is not exactly happy with the franchise in New Orleans, and they want Zion playing for another team. That's according to Shams. And then, according to Complex Magazine, and I think we've all known this already, so this is probably not really news, but this is a recent article. Zion Williamson told Complex that he and R.J. Barrett have discussed teaming up in the NBA a lot. So, here's the question. Zion versus Julius. Who would you rather have on the New York Knicks? Zion or Julius? And would you trade Julius Randle right now for Zion Williamson? That's the question we're going to answer. We got a chat here. We got G-Man. We got Nate. We got Cornerstone. We got Andy, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to open up the phone lines so that you can call in. And then right after this show, we're going to jump into the Queen's Court, where Steph is going to talk about the path to the chip. Does that include Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and all that good stuff? So we got a nice lineup of shows for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to our group, because I'm interested to hear what some people got to say about this one here. It's interesting. Zion versus Julius right now. Who gets us there? G-Man, what's popping with you, my brother? I want to start with you. Get your introduction to everybody. Then we'll get into this conversation, because I think this is going to be a good one.
I agree with you 100%, Sam. So first of all, salute to the chat. Salute to the panel, with everyone with the exception of Mr. Milk Dud down there in the bottom right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to give him no props, but what I will say is this. I love the fact that we're talking about fresh blood, right? A lot of the times, I think that us as Knicks fans get cemented in the fact of what Randle has done for this team in the past year, and I'm all about supporting Julius Randle, right? But what I don't want to do is I don't want to get blinded by the fact that there are other options out there as well. So in my mind, what this does for Mr. Randle is let him know that, yes, you were great last season, but guess what? I still need for you to perform moving forward, because they're younger, fresher, and a different scheme of what we got going on that's coming about here. So your spot as Knicks fans have solidified Julius Randle as per what he did last season, and said, okay, well, you are that guy, right? We're going to build around you. But lo and behold, when you get a phone call, the phone rings and says, hey, Cornerstone, check this out. This is Zion Williams, right? No, this is not Zion Williams. This is Zion Williams' uncle. So what I'm telling you is this. My nephew is not happy in his current situation. And there's a pathway that we can get my nephew on your team if we can make X, Y, and Z happen. Are you open to listen to those type I guess options? You know what I'm saying? Lo and behold, where I am right now, Sam, is this. I believe that I acknowledge what the team did last season, and that was great. But we need to continue to grow, right? We can't close our eyes to options that are on the table right now. And people will tell you that if you listen to the naysayers, they'll say that's all hyperbole and whatnot. Zion's not coming here. That's what they want you to believe. Why they want you to believe that? Because they want somebody else to be able to capitalize on what's going on. I'm a firm believer in we can get Zion on this team, and maybe not this season, but here pretty soon, I see Zion wearing a New York Knicks jersey. I'm just being honest.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, we got a lot to talk about. Nate, let me get your introduction, man. Quick introduction.
What's going on? What's going on, man? How y'all doing? Happy Friday. Yeah, man, there's a lot to dissect about this this debate, because the first thing that comes to my mind, just real quick, is just like, I mean, Julius Randle is obviously going to be the trade partner if you make a trade for Zion Williamson. Yeah. Does he want to go back to New Orleans? That's my question. You know, that I mean,
well, the thing is, and maybe he wouldn't want to go back to New Orleans, but that's not up to him. He doesn't have a no trade clause. And if he didn't want to stay in New Orleans, he'd only have to play one season, and then, you know, he can choose to go wherever else.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, too, this has got to work with RJ in play, too. Like, RJ's got to be on the Knicks for Zion to come. You know, so anybody thinks that we have to trade RJ to get Zion, I mean, it's not going to happen. They want to play together. They like each other. You're trying to pair them together. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Andy?
Yo, what up to you, Sim? What up to the panel? What up to the chat? Happy to be starting this weekend. You know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a long weekend for me. We got the Euro, you know, national teams play. Soccer is on. The show is on. So I'm really happy and looking forward to it. As long as this topic, Sim, it's a long debate. We're going to dig into it. So let me pass the mic to Kev so he can say his highs and let's roll with it.
Stop.
Bro, Andy's not my enemy no more. I like you, Andy.
No,
I like you.
No.
Yeah, I'm blind signing you now. So
Hey, Sim. Hey, Andy. Hey, Nate. Hey, whatever. I don't know who that guy is. Is he even a guy? But anyway, salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. Yeah, I'm in a vortex right now because part of me is always looking to upgrade the talent, and Zion Williams is a talent. He was supposed to be ours 2 years ago, but he's not. We have, you know, great player, well, soon to be great player in RJ. So for him to be on here, that would be great. The other half of me is, and I know, you know, we'll get into it, is for all the work that Randle did, and I agree with Sargent, you know, 110%. We're in a what have you done for me lately league. So yeah, he got us to the playoffs. Yeah, he got us to, I mean, he got most improved. He's on second team all NBA, but we need to see more of that. And he's got to go higher than what he, you know, than what he did this year. And we can't go out the first round the way he did as well. You know, we can't go out the first round the way we did. So he's a big part of that. So
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Kev,
Yeah.
because you talk a lot about, you know, what did or did not happen in the playoffs. Okay, right, and rightfully so. I get it. Would this team, as currently constructed, had gone farther with Zion Williamson instead of Julius Randle in the playoffs? Would they have defeated the Atlanta Hawks? And you can look at what the Atlanta Hawks are doing now with the Philadelphia 76ers. They're up 3-2. They're home in Atlanta tonight. They can eliminate the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. Would Zion Williamson had led the Knicks to a win over the Hawks? Kev, go ahead. I'll start with you.
I would say I don't know because
What? No.
Wait, first of all, zip it. All right. I'm talking. All right. Yeah, it could have happened. It could have happened. But then this would be his first year in the playoffs as well.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. We don't know. But yeah, there's a strong possibility that we probably could have, because I don't know, because I know Capella couldn't handle Zion down low, and that's what what it would all take place. He would take him down low. So I don't know. I don't know if we could have beaten the Hawks or not, because we still would have to deal with that that munchkin in Trae Young. So I don't know. I don't know. So that's my say.
And we got some good questions coming in from the chat with this one, but we'll get around, then we'll get to that. G-Man, what do you think? And then I'm gonna come to Steph.
So I would say that Zion Williamson on this team would have produced a very different dynamic, and I think that with that dynamic, where you have a Julius Randle, a Zion Williamson, and RJ Barrett, and that equation, I think we would have a better chance at being able to win the series, just based on that. There's more athleticism, and I don't see the ball being as stagnant as it was going into the playoffs.
I agree with that. I totally agree. So with that. Yeah,
I think the thing that killed us in the playoffs was the ball didn't move the way that it did during the regular season.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It got to a place, and we played a lot of ISO ball, and it didn't benefit us in any way, shape, form, or fashion in what was going on. So I think that Zion would have gave us an added,
dimension.
Dimension. Or dimension. Thank you, Cap. See, you know what? I don't give you too many props, but thank you for that.
Yeah, y'all like your brothers, man. What the?
Still want to take an axe to him.
That's my guy. But if I get him out here, I'm gonna put him in the deep end of the pool. I'm just telling you right now, that's gonna happen. But
it's like a pop up at the top.
That's right. The milk there. But I would say, Sam, at this point, I think Zion would have added an additional dimension that would have been beneficial for the team.
Okay. Steph, what do you think?
Shout out to Steph. Hello, the rest of the panel. Long time. I always say when I come on here, I got to be ready, because this is a tough question right here. But I would have to say no. I would have to say that Atlanta would have did the same thing with Zion that they did with Randle, loaded up on him. I don't think I could be wrong here, but because I've only seen him a few times, I don't think he's as good a shooter as Randle, though Randle didn't shoot very well himself. I don't think he would have all of the space that he needs to operate. I think it would have been a similar outcome. And he's not as seasoned as Randle, too. I mean, one of the things we're able to see is that the playoffs is different. And kudos to those players who first year round are able to kind of still perform. Now you see that, that's kind of special, but everybody is not like that. So I would say they would have done the same thing.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta knocked off the 76ers tonight. I would not be surprised.
Well,
my argument that talent doesn't always win out, but go ahead.
Yeah. I agree with Steph. I think the same thing would have happened. I'm just not sure that Zion would have been able to crack Atlanta's defense either. I mean, now, maybe there's some other ways that he might have been able to score that Julius Randle was not able to score. And some things that he does as far as grabbing offensive rebounds and some of those things. But when we played New Orleans, they use Zion a lot of the same ways that the Knicks use Zion. Now, he was able to get more points because of his electricity.
You mean Randle?
He's a high flyer.
You mean Randle, right?
Well, Zion. I mean, Zion was able to score because of his electricity. His ability to fly high and also, he's very active. So, maybe that would have made a difference in the playoffs. I don't know, because you still would have had a lot of guys that didn't show up, in my opinion. Andy, what do you think, man?
Sim, just go to Nate. I want to finish up this thing.
Okay, all right, we'll let you finish it up. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah. So after listening to what y'all have said about that, I agree that I disagree with you, Sim. I think that the Knicks would have gone past the Hawks, because one thing about Zion that he could bring that Julius didn't bring is juice. And you bring it. I mean, one thing about Zion is he doesn't really have. He's still figuring out his game, and his game is to get to the rim and get to the baskets, get free throws, get to the line. Get easy points. That's one thing Randle was not doing. He was shooting jump shots a lot of the time, and he allowed the defenses to dictate when he probably should have been more aggressive in trying to get to the rim. Zion can do that. On top of that, Zion can fly, man. Like, you use him in the fast break with Derrick Rose. He's throwing lobs. He's juicing up the team. He's getting them excited. He's going to get easy buckets there. And let's look at it this way. The guy is made for the playoffs. Like,
how do you know that, though? How do you know that? He hasn't been in the playoffs.
Right.
Exactly.
But look at Trae Young. Trae Young, you said the same thing about Trae Young, and Trae Young's balling out.
Yeah, but that's a totally different
But
circumstance.
that's Trae Young.
That's Trae Young. I think he has some better role players than us, pretty much.
Right. No, that's true. But I'm saying, listen, I'm not saying that the team necessarily around him would have excelled. I'm saying John, as a person, he's made for the big time show. I mean, he can ball out. He's a star in the making. Like, you watch games with him. The guy is huge, but he does plays that you just don't see in a guy that big. And he's still learning his game. Like, when he starts developing a jump shot, watch out, because the guy can already just ball inside. All his points come in the paint. That's amazing for a guy to score around what, I don't know, his average was 25 or something like that.
27.
For the season. 27 points, all in the paint. That is insane.
But Nate, let me ask
you the point.
In the NBA.
Yeah.
That kind of proves the point. We're not talking about who he's going to become. We're talking about if he was on the Knicks right now in that playoff series, you think he would have scored all of those points in the paint?
Yes, because who's going to kick him on the Hawks? Who's going to kick him on the Hawks?
It's not one person, just like they did with Randle. You crowd the guy. I just think it.
But
one at a time. Let him finish. One at a time.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Steph.
If you can't shoot, right? You're easier to guard. You're in one spot. You're not moving around. You're not playing inside and outside. You're in one spot around the key area. I don't know. I just think that would have been. He would have had a tough time also.
I think that he would have just killed in the paint, because nobody has the size to match up against him. And on top of that, he would have got easy baskets. He would have got more easy offensive rebounds, stuff like that. He would have done a lot of stuff that Randle couldn't have done. And that's not Randle's fault. That's just who Randle is. Randle is not Zion. They're two different players.
I mean, at that point, at this point, it's really just speculation that he would have done those things. You just don't know. Andy?
Well, I wanted to take you guys one step back. Let's think about, even if we would be in the 4th seed if we had Zion instead of Julius. For one, Julius is major injury resistant. After that first injury he had, he basically plays every game.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how Tibbs coaches and how how many minutes did Julius have, I don't think Zion could withstand a season like Julius had minute-wise on the court. And I think Zion's, slack would be, compared to Julius, of course, that he's not that kind of versatile guy. You can say whatever you want, but I think Julius is way more versatile on his offense, on defense even, than Zion. Would he bring, crowds to and get them pumped up? Yeah. Probably so. But, I don't think you can say just because of that that we would have win, more games in the playoffs versus the Hawks. As we see now, the Hawks aren't a fluke. They're leading with the 76ers, which have 3 All-Stars, or I think Harris was an All-Star this season, or no? So 2.
No.
But last year they had 3 All-Stars. They had a seasoned coach in Doc Rivers. I'm not saying that he's the best coach in the league, but he's one of the best. He has troubles in playoffs also, like Thibs and adjusting and stuff, but he is still a great coach. So as far as I see it, I don't think the outcome would be, way better. I think we even probably wouldn't be in the place that we were with Julius. Then again, if we would have to start a season and I would have to choose a player for my franchise going ahead, I think if it's a 1-to-1 swap, I would do it every day on every hour of a day. I don't think you could think even about it that, going forward to pick Julius over Zion, unless you see some medical records and then you have red flags all around. Because,
like KD.
That's the most thing I would be frightened about, that he's way more injury prone. The other thing is, I think we're gonna go, after that to the contract situation, right? So I'm gonna let Josh go now, and then we're gonna probably sink into the trade scenarios and contract situation, because that's gonna be an issue for the Knicks if we would have him.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Jump in there.
Salute everybody.
So right now we're just talking about if Zion would have made a difference in the playoffs, not overall and future. If he would have made a difference in the playoffs.
Gotcha. So first of all, salute you guys. Been a long time. Had to get things together with the new house and everything like that. But
congrats.
Salute.
Congrats.
Thank you. Appreciate it. First and foremost, Zion Williamson.
When's the house?
First and foremost, Zion Williamson is superstar potential. Okay, superstar potential. There's no question he's better than Julius Randle right now at 20 years old. At 20 years old, Zion Williamson is better than Julius Randle. I'm not taking anything away from what Julius Randle did last season.
NBA. How you can say that, John?
Well, listen. I'm not taking anything away from Julius Randle. I think he had
a bad team.
Season.
That's why.
I think Julius Randle had a phenomenal season, but everything that we were saying, Julius Randle did not show up in the playoffs. Okay, he did not show up in the playoffs. The entire series, we were telling Julius Randle, get killed behind down there in the paint and go to work. What is Zion Williamson's MO? Getting down in that paint and going to work. And not only that,
but hold up, though, Josh. Hold up, Josh. Zion Williamson's MO during the season was getting down in the paint and going to work, just like Julius Randle. That's what Julius Randle did in the regular season, too. He got down in the paint, he went to work. Now, he did shoot from the outside because he can, right? But he went to work. So you can't say whether or not it would have worked with Zion getting down in the paint like that either. You don't know. Atlanta's defense had something to do with that.
Sim, I'm answering your question. You mentioned the playoffs. You didn't mention the regular season. You're talking about specifically against
but what I'm saying to you is, just like Zion Williamson, Julius Randle ate in the paint in the regular season as well. He played a little bit more outside, but he ate in the paint in the regular season as well. In the playoffs, the Atlanta's defense stopped Julius Randle from getting in the paint from the way that they were playing the defense. Yes.
Sure did.
Yes.
No.
The Atlanta's defense.
Yes.
Atlanta's defense really played a part in Julius Randle not being able to get into the paint.
It made him a jump shooter.
So how do you know that Atlanta's defense wouldn't have done the same thing to Zion?
Sim, what I'm saying is the entire time everyone was talking about it, we were telling Julius Randle to get down there in the paint. There was times when Julius Randle would take the ball at the top of the key and try to do his dribble drive thing. That was what he was doing during the course of the regular season. Not a team forcing him out to the perimeter. Julius Randle literally would take the ball from the top of the key and try to go to work from the outside.
He was trying to do that. And they weren't letting him. Yes, he was.
The Knicks lacked a point guard. That's what everyone was talking about. The Knicks not having a point guard to set the offense up. They were giving the ball to Randle so Randle can set the offense up. You do that from the top of the key. You don't do that from in the paint. So what I'm saying is Zion. Let me finish, Kev. What I'm saying is Zion Williamson. His whole game is eating inside the paint. This guy is a monster on the boards. He's Charles Barkley part 2. So against Atlanta, I feel like Zion Williamson at least would have showed up. At least showed up as a 20-year-old in the playoffs better than what Julius Randle did.
He would have got the line.
That's hard to say.
It's just hard to say.
We all thought Randle was going to show up just based on his regular season.
I understand that. And what I'm saying is, to answer Sim's question specifically, if you look at the matchup against Atlanta, I think it would have been a better matchup for the Knicks if they would have had Zion Williamson compared to Julius Randle because of everything that I mentioned about his ability to eat in the paint, the lob threat, the defensive rebounding, all of that stuff combined, I think that would have been better for the Knicks to have as opposed to what Julius Randle was giving us. Okay. Now, granted, if we would have had a point guard, I think the conversation would be a little bit different, right? Who's better? Who would have been the better player if we would have had a point guard? I think we can't dismiss that, okay? Right. But at the same time, if you look at Zion's game compared to what Julius Randle brings to the table against Atlanta, what Atlanta was doing, I think we would have been in way better shape. And on top of that, I believe Zion Williamson would have showed up. He at least would have shown up when the game counted. He would have had the ball in his hands and make something happen.
Well, I'm gonna say to that, just like you said, you believe. You don't know. You just believe. You just don't know.
Sam,
you just don't know.
Question. Nobody thought Randle would flop like this.
I didn't.
We believed the same belief you have in is the same belief we had in Randle going into the playoffs until he
same belief I have in Frank.
I've always had my doubts with Randle.
Your belief is stronger. I don't know if I believe that way.
The only thing I would say though, what I really do agree with Josh is something that we really did miss against Atlanta was the ability to spread the floor vertically. Without having Mitch, we couldn't get those lobs. Right. Randall's not getting those lobs. Zion would have been able to grab some of those lobs.
Exactly.
And that would have made a big difference.
Zoel can't catch, so there you go.
Yeah, that would have definitely made a big difference. But I do also agree. Now we can get into some regular season stuff. I agree with Andy. Would the Knicks have been there? I mean, obviously the entire offense would have been different, though. The entire offense would have been different. Everything would have changed. Would the Knicks have been where they were if they had Zion? It's hard to say. It's very hard to say because the offenses would have just been, everything would have been different. Right?
Remember, he plays point forward too. He was bringing the ball up, pretty much playing. Yeah,
he was playing. He was playing point guard a lot.
Now the reason why I say it would have been different, and I know that they did use Zion a lot of the same ways that they used Julius Randle, but I think it would have been very different because of the shooting percentages between the two players. Right? When you look at right now, I have on the screen, I have Zion and I have Julius Randle. Zion averaged 27 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists. He shot 61.1% from the field, and he shot 29.4% from three. And I think that three-point shooting right there changes everything, in my opinion. I think it changes everything because we had centers who can't shoot the three. Nerlens Noel, Mitchell Robinson can't shoot the three. So I think it changes everything about the way that the Knicks play when you talk about Zion Williamson. Julius Randle, on the other hand, 24 points, 10.2 rebounds, 6 assists. He shot 45.6% from the field, and he shot 41.1% from three. Obviously, his shooting percentage is lower overall because, he shot the ball a lot from outside, right? More mid-range shots, more three-point shot attempts. So I think that it changes the way that you play the basketball game when you compare these two. Obviously, Zion Williamson is 20, Julius Randle is 26. So that makes a big difference when you talk about who you would start your team with or who you would have on your team. The numbers are pretty similar. So maybe the Knicks would have been able to, I think they would have still made the playoffs. Would they have been the 4th seed? Who knows? I can tell you this. If the Knicks had Zion Williamson instead of Julius Randle, they probably don't draft Obi.
Right.
They probably don't draft Obi, and you have a different player other than maybe they go Halliburton. Who knows?
Right.
But they have a different player other than Obi there. Right. So, of course, that would change the dynamic of your team as well. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I want to take it another point. So, we talk about the comparison between Randle and Zion just from the standpoint of how the offense flowed with them and the talent and the scoring ability. I would say this. If Zion was on this team currently, well, I guess maybe I can't say this because I was going to say with RJ Barrett, if they were playing together, you don't think you'd see an uptick in RJ's play, knowing that he's playing with one of his best friends? Like you would see more synergy between those two players. And you don't think that would have.
So you think in the beginning of the season when RJ wasn't shooting well, because you have Zion, his shot would have. I think they would have gelled well together, and you would have seen an uptick in RJ's play. I really do, because they would have motivated each other back and forth to really, if one's struggling, hey, pick it up, let's go. Come on, let's go back to the days of when we played Duke and all that. I'm just saying, because when you play one of your best friends, you feel a lot better about your game and something like that, or you have somebody to turn to. I just think that they would just have better, they would gel better. And I think RJ would have, you've seen maybe a more of an aggressive RJ Barrett, in my opinion, because Zion would have gotten his ass about it, playing harder. Who's to say that Julius Randle and RJ Barrett didn't have that type of relationship where he could help motivate RJ?
Right. I just think Zion's more louder than Randle. That's just my opinion. I don't think Randle. He doesn't this is the most I've heard him talk this season compared to the season before. He's never been a really loud guy. I think Zion's a very loud guy. You may not see it on the court.
I'll tell you this. I think that RJ Barrett and Julius Randle have spent more time together than Zion Williamson and Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Really?
Julius Randle, Zion and RJ were together for 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Julius Randle and RJ Barrett have been together for 2 years. From the beginning of RJ Barrett's tenure with the New York Knicks, if you go back and you read the story, he couldn't find a place to sit on the plane. He asked Julius Randle, can he sit there? Julius Randle told him no. But then he said, nah, psych, I'm just joking. Go ahead, let's have a seat. And they've been plane mates, seat mates ever since. And they've, now who knows? It doesn't mean that they're closer as far as friendship than Julius Randle, Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett. But who's to say that, they don't have a close relationship together right now? It's hard to say. Maybe the chemistry could have been a little bit better. I don't know. Here's a good question.
Sounds like a lot of. Okay, go ahead.
Here's a good question I want to ask everybody. Right, Tough Love. He says, we'll get to this question. We'll put this one on the back burner, but I just want to shout him out. Thank you for the super chat. He says, so who would you give up for Zion? We'll bring that one. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. Brian Carter. He said, what do you think the perception around the league will be if we just traded our most improved All-NBA second-team player?
Exactly.
All right.
It's going to be bad.
Exactly. That's a very, very good question. Andy,
Exactly.
I'm going to start with G-Man, then I'm going to come around to Andy, Kev, and Steph. What do you think? What would the perception around the team be if we traded Julius Randle for Zion Williamson right now?
It's telling the league that you have an unstable franchise, right? So that makes no sense in anybody's imagination. Why would the person that has been he's voted the most improved, he's second team All NBA, and all these accolades that you're giving, and you're gonna trade this guy away? What message does that give? Are the people making the decisions in a comatose state at this point? I don't know. So I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not endorsing that. However, I will dial that back to say, now, if you give me an option that I can't refuse, then we can have a conversation.
Right.
But just off the rip, no, I'm not doing that. This dude has given his blood, sweat, and tears for this organization in the previous season, and the accolades have followed. So, and you reward that by trading him away? No. Yeah. Come on now. Stop with that. Stop with the madness. That's all I got, Sam.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Andy, what's your thoughts on that?
I wanted to chime in on this really, really bad. I was holding it in. Listen, when it comes to a superstar player like Josh called him in Zion, making any kind of roster move for a player like him, you can be, but I think it's going to be probably a split decision between the GMs and stuff like that. But I think half of the league would agree with you. Listen, you just traded for one of the most highlight superstar players that possibly is going to be in the league for the next several years. So I think GM's going to say, like, listen, they made a move for the future. They're trying to go for it, and it isn't like, a stupid idea. And G-Man, just to counter your point, what if we had a chance to get Luka for Randle? You would do it, bro. You would be packing his bags before we ended the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I would.
Well, that's why he said, what'd you say, G-Man?
Yeah, if it was an offer you can refuse. Exactly. Yeah, I understand.
Exactly.
So imagine if it was like 1-for-1, you would
especially
have to
get a star player.
Even if they would throw in a bad contract in there just to make the salaries match, I think you would have to do it.
Yeah, look, Andy, I agree 100%. But what I'm saying is this: in order for me to get off Julius Randle, you're going to have to bring the kitchen sink and that much more for me to be able to even entertain your conversation, right? So a Luka conversation we can have, and if we agree, then all well. Because I'm all about making this roster better. Everyone knows that I'm an Obi Toppin fan, right? But if there's a trade situation that makes the New York Knicks better, guess what? I'm gonna help Obi pack his bag, and I'm gonna wish him well and send him on his way. That's just how we do. You know what I'm saying? I'm about making this roster better at the end of the day.
Yeah, and Sim, just to add to this before we go to the next person, I think Zion is one of those players that Jim Dolan would be like, listen, guys, listen. We just going to trade for him. I don't care who you trade. We're going to make that deal. And him being, let's say back behind the scenes and stuff like that, not chiming in. This is one of those players that James Dolan is going to come by and say, listen, guys, I'm pulling this trade. Whatever you want, whoever you want, I'm going to do this trade for him.
Yep.
This is one of those players that James Dolan comes back to the office and makes that trade.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you could really be right. This might be one. Listen, first of all, it's going to be box office.
Yeah.
It would be box office
right.
without a doubt, right? Yeah. So it's gonna. I mean, the Garden's gonna pack the seats out anyway. But now you talk about jersey sales and all kinds of other stuff, merchandising and commercials and all kinds of stuff. It would definitely be box office. Kev, what's your take? What would the perception be? Do you even care about the perception? And what people would think.
I do. And if you look outside at the NBA landscape right now, there are a lot of teams out there that were just like us, dysfunctional. I mean, you look at Dallas, you look at Boston, you look at all these, teams out there. They're missing coaches, they're missing management now. I mean, that used to be us, and I'm glad we're not on that side of the fence anymore. And I'm sorry. I want to better my team, but after seeing what this guy has done for us, I'm not willing to trade him yet. I'm really not. I'm willing to let him finish out what he's doing. But like G-Man said, the offers really got to wow me, but I'm not ready to just give him away. I'm not. I'm sorry. And you can argue, moan, whatever. I'm not ready to do that because I consider him one of our cornerstones here. I do. All right. Am I going to give him a max? It all depends. That's another story and everything. But I'm not willing to trade him yet because we're stargazing too much. Yeah, we need talent. Well, we got to stop with the stargazing. We got to stop. We give up too much for these stargaze, and it doesn't work.
I mean, are we? I don't know if we.
Bro,
listen,
we only did it one time. We only did it one time.
Listen, it's my opinion. This is just my opinion. When Zion was in the draft, I think he had his heart set on New York. I really do.
Absolutely.
I think he wanted to be in New York. And when the Knicks didn't get that number 1 draft pick, I think his heart fell a little bit. he settled in.
hurt.
Was like, okay, you know what? We can. It was like I could do New Orleans. Let's see what happens. Let's see what goes
Just
on.
look at his face when he got drafted, man. He didn't seem excited.
But I think his heart was set on being in New York. Obviously, it didn't happen. Are the Knicks stargazing? I don't know. And this is not the Knicks saying anything about this. This is all fans. This is all just fans saying, would you make that swap right now?
Yeah, but here's my
I
other
think
thing
most
with
fans would because
well,
of
let
the
him. I'm not
potential
one
of
of those
Zion.
fans. I'm not one of those fans. I'm not one of those fans. If a player is doing he made NBA second all team. He was most improved, and he got us to the playoffs, and we got the 4th seed. That was all on him. If Zion was here, we probably wouldn't have gotten to where we are right now. As Zion is a talent. I agree. Zion is a talent. I'm not debating that. But we made a commitment, an investment in this guy right here, who's gotten us. Who knows, what will happen, next year when we get that point guard. Who knows what Julius's game will be. I'm not just going to throw this guy away. I'm not just going to just trade him off and everything. I don't care. You can say whatever you want, Nate, Josh. Y'all can say whatever. Who's Mark? I know I'm on there. Y'all can say whatever y'all want. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
This is all I would say, man. This is a star league. Like you talk about the Hawks, why they've been successful. Trae Young, he's a star. Luka Doncic, a star. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, star players. This team, to get to the top of the mountain, you got to have a star player. We don't have a star player.
So Randle's not a star. So all year he was not a star player.
Listen, man, he might have played he might have played like a star, but
he's
if
not
you put him on a really good team, he's a second or third option.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But not to pay star money for number one.
That's ridiculous.
You're paying him to be a 1. I'm not going to pay him a 1. He's a 2 or 3.
The extension is not a 1, but if he pulls over and get to $200 million, yes, that's a different. That's ridiculous.
I'm just saying, like Zion's a star player. He's going to be a star. He's already.
And Randle's a star player too.
And he's 6 years younger than Randle.
Let me get the
6 years
Steph.
younger than Randle.
Let me get the Steph. Let me get the Steph.
To answer your question, I think what it would say to the rest of the league depends on what we get. If we trade him for second-rate players, I think it would say to the league that we don't believe Randle is our guy.
Right.
Because of how he played in the playoffs. He's not our guy. We're going to take a step back, reset, maybe go with the younger core that we have. Now, if they trade him for a superstar, it would just mean that they just thought that player was better, that was a better deal for us if they went that way. But keep in mind, no matter who you trade for, you're still in the same boat. One all-star, one all NBA level player. And if you want to be a championship contender, you need at least 2. Some have more, but you need at least 2. So if you trade for Zion, that's fine. You hope he develops and become an all-NBA player like Randle, and it looks like he's on that trajectory, but you're still going to have to put a team around him.
Yep.
Exactly.
Can I add to what Steph was saying? So
just kick it. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
The Knicks keep kicking the can down the road.
Yep.
And at some point, you got to put your stake in the ground and say, we are going to build here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you could trade Randle for a Luke or somebody, your stake is in the ground. But you can't just trade Randle and be like, oh, we're going to go back and we're going to see if RJ or Obi or one of these guys pop. You're setting your franchise back 3, 4, 5 years if you do that.
Right.
Exactly. Facts.
Go ahead, Josh.
So I just want to add to this. So everyone knows I would love to bring a superstar to New York. Everyone knows that about me. I want to make a trade and bring in a big name here. But here is the reason why I would not in this particular situation. Along with the whole perception thing about us committing to Julius Randle and us telling him that he's our guy. Along with that part, there's also we need to go out and get a superstar who can knock down shots, who can hit free throws, and pretty much a guard or a wing. Someone else that we can run the offense through. By trading Zion for Randle straight up, there's still a need that's there.
Yeah.
A person that you got to have put the ball in their hands and tell me to go get a bucket. That's a guard or a wing. So when the game starts to slow down a bit and Zion gets double teamed, there needs to be that second guy there. So to me,
that's RJ.
But I don't think that it is. At least
RJ. Maybe a few years down the line.
Right now. Not right now. And I think that the Knicks will probably be in the same situation like Steph was saying. You trade Randle for Zion. Yeah, Zion's going to give you your 27 points. He's going to dominate in the paint, but there's still a large need that's there. And that's for that particular reason. That's the reason why I would not make.
But you don't think. But you don't think if you get Zion and RJ players, you're going to come want to play in New York with those two guys?
Well, that's different. That's if we're assuming that, but with the Knicks and their history, you can't assume any of that stuff. All this stuff going around about the Knicks going to get this player and get that player. Yeah, and we're in a position to do so. We've had over $30 million in cap space for 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row.
Been able to get anybody except for Julius.
Boom.
Right.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't.
But you don't think a guy like Zion would attract players to play New York because Zion's a likable guy. He's fun, he's energetic, he's enthusiastic. Like, you don't think
why isn't anybody coming to New Orleans? Why isn't anybody coming to New Orleans?
Because New Orleans is mismanaged, man.
What? I mean, the thing, is he going to attract one? And I want to get into this. I'm about to come to Mark. I'm going to come to Mark and Andy. I want to get into this, right? Talking about Zion, it's all great. It all sounds creamy and peachy, but he played 24 games in 2019, 2020. He played 61 games this past season, so he missed 11 games. Are there concerns? Are you concerned about? Would you be concerned about his injury history?
Hey, Sim, real quick. Let me ask: did they make the bubble last year?
Yeah,
the Pelicans.
Yes. They made the bubble.
And he didn't play, right?
No.
I don't remember.
He passed on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. But would you be concerned about his injury history? There's always a lot of concerns about his weight, about about the structure of his knees and those type of things. Would you be concerned about his injury history and if he would continuously get injured if he was with the New York Knicks, right? Julius Randle, for most of his career, he's been pretty much healthy. Besides his first season, he's been pretty much healthy. All right. Hey, Mark, talk to me.
Hello, guys. How y'all doing?
It's been a minute.
Listen.
It's funny I say that and you show up.
Yeah, exactly. I know where he's going.
Well, I had some time today. I just got back from finishing up some work done at my other house. So, I'm just chilling now. But I'm looking at Zion down the road, more likely. But worried about his injury history. I mean, the way the league is right now, you should worry about every superstar's injury because they're going down like flies.
That's true.
So it's like a double-edged sword when you're talking about players because when you look at the league right now, seven out of 9 superstar players are out of the playoffs. Your big guys, Kyrie, et cetera, et cetera. So thinking about Zion and his injury, I'm not thinking about it right now, and especially he's young. So I'm not really thinking about it unless he really got some catastrophic injury to his knees or something like that. Then you think about it. But as of right now, I'm not thinking about no catastrophic injury with him. But the question is, guys, is part of me, right? When we was coming into this season, I feel like this organization, Tibbs and Randle really ruined what they wanted to do, what they really wanted to do, because what happened this season was nuts. It was out of pocket. Something special happened, and I appreciate it. But I think this organization, the way they put the way they sign players and et cetera, they was looking to go the other way. So my thing is, right? We dealing with what's the dude named Sim? The president?
Leon Rose.
What's his name?
Leon Rose.
Okay, Leon Rose, right? I mean, this is a smart guy. He's smart. I think he knows what he's doing. Is Randle really in his plans? That is my question. Because it's not like he brought him along. And we all know how this goes. You hire someone new. If there's someone that's stuck before that wasn't really too sure of that person, things can happen. But I think they will give him the money because Randle kind of put us in a situation that benefits him for staying a year or two, or even more, depending on whatever happens down the line. But is Randle in Leon's
plans?
Leon's plans?
I mean, I think a person's plans can change though. Right? Maybe in the beginning it was like, I'm not sure. But then he's like, you know what? I like this guy. I mean, a person's plans can change.
Yeah, no, that's all cool. But my issue is, right, we look to acquire players, right? So in this case, I don't think we can acquire anybody big. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make trades to get any type of significant player. Part of me, I'm looking at Kimba. Because again, I looked at this as a 2-year bill, bringing Kimba in for two more years at 35, 36 for a point guard that could do some things. I look at that if Lonzo and those other guys don't pan out. But who is going to want to play with Julius if he's front and center? That is my thing. Is
Lonzo
players that has the opportunity.
Lonzo. Huh? Kemba's in OKC. We'll see what happens there. Right now, Kemba's on. He's in OKC. We'll see what happens there.
I'm saying that's an option. Kemba's an option. But
Mark just froze up.
What I'm saying is now the Lonzo situation. There's an article coming out that Zion. There's an article that Zion and Ingram want him back. And with Zion, with this news coming out with Zion, his families, et cetera, saying he's not happy here. I think if they want Lonzo back, I think Lonzo's going to be off the table. I think there's too many teams right now that's going to put themselves in position to get Lonzo and actually give him money and to actually be on a good team. So us getting Lonzo is iffy. Us getting anybody at this point, for me, I have to see it more than.
I don't know. I disagree. I disagree. I don't think us getting Lonzo is iffy. We got the money. He's going to be a restricted free agent. Right now, it seems like the Pelicans are in shambles with the way things are going down. So who knows what could happen there. I don't think that it's out of the question for the Knicks to be able to sign Lonzo Ball. I don't think that's out of the question at all. The question to me is, what is he worth? Right? Is he worth $20 million? Is he worth 15, 18?
So check this out. So you look at the move what the Celtics did, right? Celtics could be a player for Lonzo at point guard because they need a point guard now when you think about it. So what they would do, remember, Lonzo could still be dealt with a sign and trade. So they could still use Lonzo as a weapon, as long as that team, so it's again, this off season is very tricky for us because I don't know what Leon Rose is going to do again because he's playing this as a ninja, and the way I just think the way the season went, he didn't expect it. Just by the moves that he made, he didn't really make this team to be good. I think he just got who he got to put it together to make it decent. I think Tibbs did a fantastic job. Randle did a fantastic job this season. So I just want to know if Randle's in Leon's plans. If not, this is going to be a very, very tricky thing for us because like I said, what happened in the playoffs can make a president think.
Right, and also, you're right. You're very right. What happens in the playoffs can make somebody think like, can this guy do it? And I think that's why you got to see it again. You got to see, does he adjust? Does he get better? The same way he did coming from his first year with the Knicks to now his second year, he got better. Also, I think you have to look and say, let's see what Atlanta does the rest of the way too. Right, as far as the team is concerned, because let's see what they do. But obviously it does. Obviously it does. Yes. It makes you say, you look at him, you say, all right, we've seen the way he performed in the playoffs. We need a guy that can show up.
So, Sin, my last thing. So what the Hawks did, Hawks accomplished what they wanted to do because even from the beginning of the year, they just wanted to make the playoff. This is just a sweetener. And to see Trae Young play the way he's playing, Lord, that just even gave them more confidence in that organization with him because he's been one of the toughest players in this playoff. No matter what anybody says, he's been the toughest. He's the smallest guy doing damage right now. But I say a part of that is the Sixers collapsing the way they collapse. I think the Sixers played a role in that. But what the Hawks is doing, they accomplish what they accomplish. So in that case, but like I said, Sim, what Randle did, I wonder if Leon Rose is thinking down the line. But the thing is, do we let Randle play on that we take the contract? Do you let him play on it? Or do you give him the extension? Because I don't think even if you was to trade him, his value will be like that can get me a young budding star. I think Randle is going to be a piece that's going to get us like good players, good role players, and probably a pick. I don't see no one coming along if we trade Randle like a young budding star with potential. I don't think.
Well, I think all that depends on, if there's a player that wants out of some place that's a star, and Randle's contract is able to facilitate that trade. I mean, it all, it's all that type. I don't think it really has to. Every trade is not player for player.
This all season is again, it's unwary, just like last year. I think for the next 2 years, it's unwary because we got to see what player is unhappy, who wants out. Right now, we playing the field. We playing the field.
Yeah. So when you compare the two, and I'm getting ready to come to Big Bubba here. When you compare the two and look at the money that they make right now, and this is what would make it a really, really good deal for the Knicks. Zion Williamson made $10 million this season. He makes $10 million next year in 21-22. Then there is a team option for $13.5 million. And then in 23-24, there's a qualifying offer of 17.5. He won't get to that qualifying offer. Wherever he is, there's going to be a contract extension negotiated. You can guarantee that. At least you would think he's not going to get to that qualifying offer. There'll be, if he got traded to a team that he wants to be on, if he doesn't want to be in New Orleans, he got traded to a team that he wants to be on, they'd negotiate a contract extension, a rookie extension, whatever, and it'd be a longer deal. But
He's gonna get his money.
Right now, you would be getting Zion at a bargain where I'm not saying you're spending a whole lot of money for Julius Randle. Julius Randle's making $20 million next season as long as the Knicks pick up their option, which you're pretty sure they're going to pick up his option. Right, he'd be making $20 million next season. That's the end of his contract, unless they negotiate an extension, which would then, of course, be, well beyond what Zion Williamson is making right now. So, that's something. If he was available to you, that's something I'm pretty sure the team would be thinking about as well. Because with a significantly less contract, you can add a significantly better pieces to your team, right? So those are things that you really gotta consider. But Big Bubba, what's going on, man? How you been? I know you're out there on vacation and whatnot.
Oh no,
I don't know. Oh, okay. I was about to say I don't know why you go on vacation, then you decide to come talk about the Knicks, but you're home now, so there you go.
No. I was in Mexico for 6 days, and I got back Wednesday.
All right. All right. I'm glad you were safe out there. I know what it can be like out there in Mexico from time to time. So I'm glad you're safe.
Yeah, man, it was fun, man. Cancun was so much fun, man. But I'm so happy to be back, son. I missed a couple episodes, man. So I had to come bless my boys real quick and the lady. Feels good to be back. But interesting. It's been so crazy, man, with all the notifications and everything going on with Zion and all this stuff. But it's interesting because I do think he wants to come to New York, but I agree with Mark. I don't think the time is right for him to be here. I think it'd be just too much. I think David Griffin would really try to. I feel like he would really try to kill the Knicks with how many picks you got to give up to get this guy and everything. I really think it's just what I didn't know, Sam, that I found out is that once he's done with his rookie contract, he can sign. It doesn't have to be a 5-year max that he signs.
Mm-hmm.
He can do like a 2-year, 3-year contract with the Pelicans after his rookie contract.
Well, yeah, he could, right?
So I mean, again, I don't think the time's really right because you see the way Zion lights up about New York. I remember the day of the lottery. I think you've seen the disappointment when the Knicks got the 3rd pick. I think there's a lot of things. I also think his family doesn't want him to be in New Orleans. I think that has to do a lot of with Anthony Davis. I think that has to do a lot with the marketing. It has to do with a lot with the arena. At the end of the day, New Orleans will never be a basketball town. It will be a football town, and the recognition that he gets won't be if he goes to New York or something like that. I mean, there's no comparison.
Well, so, but see, I disagree there. I just disagree with that. I mean, you look at OKC when KD and them guys was in OKC, KD was still KD. You look at LeBron in Cleveland, and LeBron was still LeBron. You see Giannis in Milwaukee. I mean, and these aren't towns that well maybe Oklahoma, it's a big basketball place, but these notoriously weren't places that are known for big basketball teams and stuff like that when you talk about Milwaukee and Cleveland. So I think that Zion can make himself a name. I don't think that's an issue right there. I think he can make himself a name. But my question to you is, would you right now trade Julius Randle for Zion Williamson if he was available? Flat out, yes or no, would you do it?
No.
Why not?
I have to see more from Zion a little bit.
Okay.
It's tough because one thing that scares me with Zion is the same thing that scares me with Giannis. And the good thing with Zion, he's young, right? He's young, so he can get through that because perimeter shooting, even though Julius Randle wasn't really good during the postseason, I have more faith in Randle's getting out of the shooting slump in the playoffs because, again, Zion still can't shoot. And, again, I'm not saying Giannis and Zion are the same player, but they play kind of this similar style of basketball a little bit in which if you can build a wall against Zion and all that, bullying, and if you build a wall like we've seen with the Miami Heat, like we've seen with the Celtics, like we've seen with a lot of these teams during, Giannis's playoff thing, is that he can't be stopped. So I want to see Zion shoot a little bit more because, again, right, we still don't know what he's like in the playoffs. We've seen Ja in the playoffs. We've seen RJ get better in the playoffs. We still don't know what Zion's going to be in the playoffs before we just say trade him for Julius, who, like, again, we all know he didn't have the best series, but I have a lot of faith that Julius can get better for another playoff series, and we still don't know what Zion's going to be. Zion could go and average 40-something points in the playoffs, or he could average 20 on bad efficiency. We don't know yet because he hasn't been there.
Oh, that's true. True.
So we got to, and I get that we see the regular season, but I felt like this playoffs to me showed a lot about, yes, we care about the regular season, but at the end of the day, it's all about that postseason.
Yep.
And we're seeing who's doing good and who's succeeding, which, again, we could be completely wrong. Like I said, Zion could go in his first playoff series, average 40 points on crazy efficiency, and it just can be the rest of the team. Or we don't know yet, but
right.
I'm going to stick with Julius for right now. And if there's an opportunity, because I do believe Zion wants to play here. I mean, to me, it's all set up for him. I think he wanted to be here. RJ's his best friend. I think he would follow RJ versus anybody. I feel like this would kind of be like a LeBron D Wade type of thing. Early 2008, 2000, all that. I feel like RJ. I think RJ is low key a sneaky leader, son. I really, really do. I think a lot of players like RJ and they want to play with this guy.
All
so
right.
I think
we'll see. Because right now you're kind of saying, you starting to go backwards and go over and say what you said like five times. So I gotta cut you off. I'm sorry because you're starting to go and say it and say it and say it and say it and say it. We'll be 20 minutes and you'll be saying, because we haven't seen Zion in the playoffs. So like I said 5 times ago, he could average 40, but he can average 20. So we got to move on. Let me get the step. No, let me get the step. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
What was the question again? Isaiah took up a lot of time. No, I'm kidding. What was the question?
I was about to say, I ain't the one taking up all the time. I get tired of this because everybody else take a lot of time, but you only give me 5 minutes. It's supposed to be 1.
5 minutes is a long. 5 minutes is a long time when you keep saying the same thing over and over and over again.
I said it twice.
What was the question, Tim?
I just asked him straight up, does he do it? Zion for Julius Randle right now, today.
The only reason I wouldn't do it, and it doesn't have anything to do with Zion's talent, is that now you got to wait for that core to develop. Now you're talking about another 5-6 years. I'm ready to put my stake in the ground right now. So that's the only reason why I would say no. You're going to have to wait for him to become an all NBA type player, and you still got to put another player around him,
Right.
at least one.
Correct. Andy, go ahead, Andy. Then I'm coming to Cornerstone, and then I'm gonna get to a couple phone calls, and I'll get back around.
Yes, and the reason why I would do it also, because we were talking about things that might have happened, not happen, whatever. If you do the trade straight up, 1-for-1, even take a bad contract to make the salaries match, you get even more cap flexibility, and the window to add free agents stretches by 2 years, 2 full off seasons that you could add guys with bird rights, with contracts longer than you have to go. Then after that comes the year when you have to re-sign RJ and Zion in the same offseason. And after that offseason, you have to have your squad and roster set up basically perfectly. Because after those extensions, assuming they're going to be max extensions, you won't have any penny to spend except that mid-level exception that you get every year and vets minimum contracts. But you have two, if I'm correct, 2 full off seasons to fill out the roster the way you want. You can sign a point guard and see if he pans out. If he doesn't, like we signed, guys this season for 1+1 deals. You see, if he fits, okay, you keep him. If he doesn't, you just don't re-sign him and you just sign another guy. When you stay with Randle, I bet you that he wants to get that extension this season because he's after that all NBA second team pick, which allows him to get that super max extension around $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that will strap us before the second even off season.
Yeah.
So if you are willing to gamble that Randle is your number one guy, you just stay with him. But if you have any doubts that he's your number one guy, you better run from that guy. Because he's not going to sign a 1+1 or 1+2 contract. He's going to be looking for that 5-year deal and nothing less than 5 years, that super max extension around $200 million.
Yeah. Cornerstone.
Well, first off, I want to say it's good to see Mark and Isaiah. I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah, and Isaiah had a nice haircut, right?
Yeah, no comment. He still looks sloppy, but anyway. Oh yeah, Isaiah. Yeah, not Mark. Mark looked cool. Everything. You heard my thing. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I agree with Stephanie. He doesn't have to be our number one. He could be our 1A or whatever. But yeah, I'm just not going to ignore what he has done, for us, this year, because it can only get better. It can only get better for us. If management felt that it couldn't get better, then, I'm gonna trust whatever management does, but me personally, I just wouldn't do it because I want to see how this seed can grow into a nice plant. I'm not gonna call it a flower, call it a plant.
Okay.
So,
all right. Let me get to a couple of super chats and then a phone call. Brian Carter, he said, what do you think? Oh, we already did that one. What do you think the perception is? Mr. William, 1072, he said, we saw with Randle, we were in need of a pure point guard. You replaced Randle with Zion, and that glaring need would have been blinding. Same result. Talking about the playoffs. I think I agree. You're still going to need a point guard to go with Zion because, he's still not, he's not like LeBron. That's going to be that kind of facilitator. Tough Love. He said Randle made the second team All-NBA. What are we saying? I don't think we're just asking the question, would you do it? I don't know. Tough Love, would you do it? And I guess he's answering my question because he sent another super chat and he said, what has Zion proven, though? And that's true. What has Zion proven? He hasn't proven anything yet besides statistics, which is okay for him because he's just getting into the league. 23 Blade, he said, I think RJ would be required to play better if Zion is on the team since they are about the same age. And I don't know if RJ is going to defer to Zion like that.
Nope.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. That's another layer that we can unwrap in this whole discussion. You know, how that works. We know how it worked in college. How does it work in the NBA? Javar123, he said, thank you for the super chat. He said, look at the Nets and what they did. They traded everybody for superstars. Do you care if it produces a chip? Or do they care if it produces a chip? Well, let's see if it, they got to get past Milwaukee. Right now, their superstars are banged up. So let's see if they can get past Milwaukee. That's good, is going to Game 7. Brian Williford, he said, with LeBron's career nearing an end, not ending, but nearing an end, the NBA is in search of a new face for the league. It gets no better than Zion in New York. That's true. That's true. I can't argue with that. Justice Smith, big shout out. Thank you for the super chat. He said, Kev, you're too in love with the names on the back of the jersey instead of what's needed on the front of the jersey. The best player. We need the best player. He said, shouldn't think twice. Trade Zion. It's easy. And then Tough Love said, Sim, if a player can't shoot, I don't care how much of a star he is. Look at the 76ers. Ben Simmons, he's holding him back because he can't shoot. Okay, so, I get it. You're right. I get it. And we don't know if Zion is going to develop into a shooter. We just don't know that right now. He could not. And then Peachtree Ministries jumping in from ATL to rub it in a little bit. He said, I just wanted to say hey to my Knicks fans. I'm giving Philly fans the business now. Eastern Conference Finals, here we come. Ice Trey the gang. See that? And Atlanta fans still coming in to rub it in. That's all right. I respect it. Because they playing ball. I can't be mad because they hooping over there, man. Them guys in ATL are hooping. Caller, you're live. What's popping with you? How you feeling?
What's popping, Sam? It's AK. What's up?
AK, what's going on with you, brother? How you feeling, man?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I'm loving the conversation right now.
Yeah,
You know
man.
They're saying Zion for Randle?
What's your thoughts,
That's
man?
what you're talking?
That's what we're talking. Zion versus Julius Randle. What would you do?
Yo, I love Randle, man. I ain't gonna front. I love him since LA. But I love Zion. I'm getting Zion. You're talking about less money, pick up more players around RJ and Zion? You want to talk about you want a championship now? What you mean? What you saying? He's getting 27 points and he's only 2 years in the league.
I mean, that's true. That's true. That's true. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, if he can't, obviously it's not just on him. If it's not just on him, but, can that 27 points get you to the playoffs? They got to be able to get you to the playoffs.
If you build a team around those two players, I really think you could. Honest with you, you get a point guard with that also. You still got money to get a point guard, right?
Yeah. You'd have money to get a point guard.
Zion could play point guard, right? That's what. If Zion could play point guard, we got Obi, right?
See, I don't know if he could play point guard like that. I don't know if he could play point guard like that. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If Tom Thibodeau was coaching Zion, Lonzo, and Brandon Ingram, do they make the playoffs in the West?
Zion, RJ, and Brandon Ingram.
No, Zion.
Will they make it in the West?
No,
Yeah.
if he was coaching the Pelicans this year that just passed with Zion, Lonzo Ball, and Brandon Ingram, does that team make the playoffs in the West?
They make it to the 9th. They won't make it in the play. They'll be in like the 9th or the 8th.
Okay.
In the West.
Okay. Well, Well, so you say they make the play in, and then
They make the play
have a
in, yeah.
chance. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. So you telling me, boom, right there, you taking Zion right off the bat. You taking Zion. If they called you up today,
I'm taking Zion.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Hey, I feel you. I can't even really argue with you, man, because
who you messing with? Who you messing with?
I mean, to be honest with you, if they called me today, I'd have to make the trade. And it's not that I don't like Randle, because I do like Randle and I respect everything that Randle did. But when when I look and I say, obviously see the talent of Zion, and then the fact that we're only paying him $10 million a year for the next 2 years,
exactly,
and I can add more pieces.
Yep. Come on now.
I feel like I can build a championship team because I have just a little bit more money. I don't have to worry about paying him $30 million in the next year or two. We can add more pieces, and I think you can build that way. And you still got a guy that could be a budding star. It would be a tough decision, though. It would be a tough decision for me because, unlike Josh, I do have some loyalty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, you gotta have some loyalty.
I have some loyalty, and so it would be a really hard decision. And I'd have to say, man, this guy is really, he did a lot for the franchise. He helped us rebound. You know what I'm saying? Do I want to just do I want to do him dirty like that? Do I want to do him the way that the Celtics did to Isaiah Thomas? Do I want to do that to him?
True.
That
that's a big decision.
Yeah, it'd be tough. It'd be tough because I do think, and I know a lot of people say, well, I think people would just look at it and say the Knicks upgraded, But I do think players, maybe other teams would look and say, well, the Knicks upgraded. But I think players will look and say, they don't care about their players over there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They'll do their guys dirty. So, it's a tough decision.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
Especially for Leon right now, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Hey, AK, I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Yo, one to the chat. Yo, Sim, I got that too. One.
All right, no doubt. Peace, man.
All right.
I ain't got no loyalty. What?
No, man. No. Listen, Josh is like, it's all about getting. We got to get that chip. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm doing the trade.
I mean, not in this case, but I want to win a championship. It's been 50 years.
Dude, I don't blame you. I'm just saying it might be a tougher decision for me than it would for you. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Calling you live. What's popping? Tell me your name, where you from.
Hey, this is Rich from Brooklyn.
Rich from Brooklyn. What's going on with you, man? How you feeling? Tell me your choice. What would you do? Zion, Julius Randle. Would you trade it right now? Would you do, if they called you up, would you make that trade right now?
All right. Difficult, right? So I got some kind of loyalty towards Randle. And I've been listening to what y'all been saying, and hey, can Zion actually carry a team and so forth? But same could be said for Randle. I mean, we've only seen one season of Randle doing this. I mean, Zion has been doing this thing his rookie year into his sophomore year. I mean, Zion is a little more proven to me. Julius only did this 1 year, man. I could also go with the salary cap. We get a lot more salary cap if we trade Julius for Zion. We got a younger player. I guess durability comes in a little bit if you want to talk. I guess Julius is a little more durable than Zion. But hey, I'd make that trade, man. I mean, if you have Zion, you got RJ, you get a whole lot of more cap space. You could go out there, you could get maybe a Zach LaVine. Plus, we got all those other free agents that are coming up, I guess, in 2022.
Yeah.
Because, so, I just think we got a lot more flexibility if we go out and we get Zion, especially if RJ steps up and, he probably steps into like that all-star status, which I think he has the possibility to do.
Nah, I agree with you. I agree with you, man. It's a tough decision, and if by any chance Leon Rose is presented with it, it's going to be, he's going to struggle with making that decision. I'm pretty sure. And inside, just like we're having our agreements and disagreements here, inside the Knicks war room, they're going to be having the same exact agreements and disagreements, man. Hey, Rich, I appreciate your time, man. I'm running short on time because we got to get to the Queens Court. It's coming up at about 5:15. All right, so I appreciate it, man. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Let me get to one more phone call, and I want to get back and just hold you guys, your feet to the fire. Boom. You're doing it and know right now if they're giving you that call. Call you live. Give me your name, where you're from.
Al from Florida, but I'm originally from Long Island.
All right. Appreciate your call, my man. Al, tell me right now, if they call you up, are you trading Julius Randle for Zion?
I wouldn't do it, even though it would be a tough call.
Okay.
I know Zion's ceiling is through the roof, but Julius was really, really good this year. And that's the one thing people are taking in the playoff thing a little bit too hard on him to forget that he's been this type of player. Now, his efficiency has been great this year, but he's been putting these type of numbers up since he got to New Orleans and he was playing with Anthony Davis. So for everybody saying this is just 1 year of Julius, it's not 1 year. This is the first year that he's been super efficient with it. But this type of the player that he has been, the close to 20 points, 10 rebounds, about 4 assists, this is the type of player that he's been.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You're right. He's been this guy, and he's grown. He's expanded his jump shot. He's gotten better court vision. You learned the game a little bit more. Definitely, I get it.
And also his ball handling has improved. Is better than Zion's. I believe his off the dribble three is better than Zion's. His catch and shoot ability is better than. There's a lot of things to his game that we take for granted. The thing that he really can't do better than Zion right now is his athletic ability of that verticality, and just Zion's finishing around the rim is one of the top, if not one of the best guys in the league.
Right. Yeah. I mean that's without a doubt. He might. Yeah. That's without a doubt. He can finish like crazy.
I also want to correct Andy on a couple things that he said earlier about Julius's contract. He can't get the Supermax because you have to be on your original team that you were drafted with to be the Supermax. Now, what he can do is he can take a 2-3 year extension with a player option and get to his 10+ years. And I think that's what a lot of players are doing. Right now, he's in his 6 to 9 year season, so he's not be able to get the top of the top. But a lot of these guys sign these contract extensions to get to that 10+ year, so they can get their max raises and their max salary. So Julius might actually sign a shorter extension to get to that 10+ years. And also, I wouldn't make the cap thing with Julius and Zion. You don't want to pay all your guys at once at the same time. So that's why I wouldn't make the trade for Zion. You have Julius, so you already have a guy that's in place right now on top of RJ.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have $50 million to play with. Now you can trade a player and or sign another impact player. So you have an opportunity to get 2 impact players on your roster right now, along with RJ coming back and improving, along with Obi, along with Quickly, along with, if you decide to bring back Rose, if you decide to bring back either Bullock or Burks, as well as the draft picks that you have. So I wouldn't try to pay everybody at once. Yeah, Julius, he'll only make $8 million more. It's not that big of significance if he decides to sign his max extension this year or the following year. So that's the reason. That's another reason why I wouldn't make that deal with for Zion right now. You don't want to pay everybody at the same time. You don't have flexibility that way. You can't make different moves and spread out the pay that way. because now you get into a point to where it's all right. Now we hitting the luxury tax time. Now we got to make moves based on that. Where if we have to make a move, then you could start trading pieces away instead of having to deal everybody at the same time. If a superstar becomes available, if you need that contract to move.
Makes a lot of sense. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. But you're saying, okay, but if you get Zion, you don't have to pay him a lot of money for a few more years from now. Are you saying him and RJ, you don't want to have to pay him and RJ at the same time?
You don't want to pay those two big maxes at the same time. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you have your max with Julius this year, either this year or next year, because I think the Knicks window is to really start competing is when RJ's extension hits. That's when they want to see what they have, if they can compete. You want to make sure all your ducks are in a row by the time. It's like what Boston did with, and it's like with the 76ers did with Ben Simmons. They were able to get Tobias. They were able to get all these other guys before that extension hit. Same thing with Jason Tatum. They were able to get Hayward. They were able to get Kemba. And then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's extensions hit. So I think the Knicks' opportunity to try to become a championship contender or a perennial playoff contender is trying to do that right when RJ's extension, his rookie extension hits.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense. Hey, great call, my man. I appreciate your time. Makes a lot of sense. You said Al, right?
Yes.
Al, appreciate your call. Appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate what y'all guys doing. Keep going. I'm always watching.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Like everything you had to say. Makes a lot of sense right there, ladies and gentlemen. Makes a lot of sense. Listen, we're coming down to the end of the show. I want to get around and just have everybody point blank. Would you do it right now? G-Man, right now, if they called you up right now, are you making the trade?
Yes.
Making the trade. All right.
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Nate, I'm coming around to you. Let me get you unmuted over here. And just tell me you making a trade. Right now, if they call you up, are you making a trade?
100% of the medicals check out.
If the medicals check out. Okay. Andy?
Yeah, I said before I would make it.
You said,
of course.
Yeah.
If it's only for Zion, straight up 1-for-1 and a contract filler, like an expand, ending contract after the season, you'd have to do it.
Okay. And I know what Cornerstone is going to say, but I'll ask him again just for kicks. You making a trade? Nope. You're not making a trade. All right. Look, and he muted himself out. He had nothing. He dropped the mic. That was Kev dropping the mic. He muted himself. He just dropped the mic. Go ahead, Steph.
No, but for Luka, yes.
Okay. All right. Josh, right now, they call you up right now. You making a trade?
The answer is no, and it has nothing to do with loyalty or lack thereof. But look at it this way: if let's say we don't trade Randle, and we want to be loyal to Randle, and he walks in the offseason, when we're talking about Randle not having loyalty to the team, it has nothing to do with loyalty. It's about business, and can you win a championship, and can you get better? That's all that matters. Ain't got nothing to do with anything else.
Okay. All right, Mark.
Damn, come on. You're talking to the number one Randall head, like the chat always say. Get him up out of here. Bring Zion home. He was supposed to be here in the first place.
What you mean home? What you mean home? Home? Where does home come from? What is home?
Zion
this ain't his
was supposed
home.
to be in New York. Everybody knows Zion was supposed to be in New York. That's what I said. Bring him home. Bring Zion here. He's supposed to be here.
Bring him home.
That's what I
Okay.
meant.
And Big Bubba, just real quick, yes or no?
No. Young players don't win championships.
Okay. All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave it in the chat. I'm heading out, but I'm heading over to the Queen's Court. And please join us over there at the Queen's Court. As a matter of fact, when this video ends, it's going to take you right to the Queen's Court so you can jump in the chat automatically. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe right now. Ring that notification bell. And check the description of this video. I have some exclusive videos right now over on Newsbreak. So check me out over there. You can go right into the link and you can click on it and you can download the Newsbreak app. If you like local news and local sports, stuff like that, it's for you. But I'm out, ladies and gentlemen.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench.